One of the biggest worries people have when selling their home is not having enough time to move. You accept an offer, and suddenly it feels like a countdown has started one you didn't choose. That pressure can be overwhelming, especially if you're juggling a new job, kids in school, or trying to coordinate your next home. With a traditional buyer using a mortgage, that timeline is mostly out of your hands. But with a cash buyer, things work differently. The timeline becomes something you can actually discuss, adjust, and agree on together. And that flexibility can make your entire moving experience far less stressful. Why traditional home sales limit your timing? In a typical financed home sale, the lender controls the pace. The process depends on loan approvals, appraisals, underwriting, and paperwork that can take weeks or even longer. As a seller, you have very little influence over how quickly or slowly these steps move. Once the lender finishes their part, things can speed up quickly. Closing dates are often set with little room for adjustment, and you're expected to be ready. If your plans don't align perfectly, you may find yourself scrambling to figure things out at the last minute. Many sellers in this situation end up paying for temporary storage, booking expensive last-minute movers, or staying with family while they wait for their next home to be ready. The lack of control over timing is one of the most frustrating parts of a traditional sale. How cash buyers change the timeline. Cash buyers don't rely on lenders. They already have the funds available, which removes a major layer of delays and uncertainty. This allows them to be far more flexible with closing dates. Instead of being tied to a rigid schedule, you and the buyer can agree on a timeline that works for both sides. Whether you need to move quickly or take your time, a cash buyer can often accommodate your situation. For example, some sellers need to close within a couple of weeks because they're relocating or dealing with financial pressure. Others may need 30, 45, or even 60 days to organize their move, especially if they're buying another home or waiting for construction to finish. Cash buyers are used to working with all kinds of scenarios. That experience makes it easier to create a timeline that fits your life, not just the transaction. Understanding leasebacks, extra time after closing. One of the most helpful options available in a cash sale is a leaseback agreement, sometimes called a rent-back. This allows you to sell your home, but stay in it for a short period after closing. Here's how it works. The buyer officially takes ownership of the property, but you remain in the home as a temporary tenant. You pay a small daily or monthly fee until your agreed move-out date. This arrangement can be extremely useful if your next home isn't ready yet, or if you simply need more time to transition. It gives you access to your sale proceeds while still allowing you to move on your own schedule. Leasebacks are much easier to arrange with cash buyers. In financed deals, lenders often have restrictions that make these agreements more complicated or even impossible. Common moving situations and how cash buyers help. Cash buyers are especially valuable in situations where timing matters. Here are a few common scenarios. Fast closings, under 2 weeks, nearly impossible with traditional buyers, but often achievable with cash. Extended move-out periods. Cash buyers can usually agree to longer timelines up front. Staying after closing. Leasebacks are commonly accepted in cash deals. Flexible closing windows. Dates can often be adjusted within a range instead of being fixed. Coordinating with your next purchase. Easier to align timelines without lender restrictions. The key difference is flexibility. Traditional buyers are limited by lender rules, while cash buyers have far fewer constraints. That gives you more room to shape the deal around your needs. How to negotiate your moving date effectively. If you want to take advantage of this flexibility, communication is essential. The earlier you discuss your timeline, the better. Start by being clear about your situation. Let the buyer know exactly how much time you need and why. Whether it's 30 days, 60 days, or a leaseback arrangement, bring it up before you accept an offer. Here are a few practical tips. Ask for your preferred closing date up front. Don't assume it will be flexible, confirm it. Request a leaseback if needed. Make sure the duration and cost are clearly defined. Consider a flexible date range. This gives both sides room to adjust if needed. Get everything in writing. Verbal agreements won't protect you later. Work with experienced buyers. Those familiar with flexible timelines will make the process smoother. Being proactive can save you a lot of stress later. Most cash buyers expect these conversations and are willing to work with you as long as you're clear from the start. Why timing flexibility can save you money. A poorly planned move can be expensive. When you're rushed, you often have to make quick decisions that cost more than necessary. Last-minute moving services, temporary housing, storage units, and overlapping living expenses can quickly add up. These hidden costs can eat into the profit you made from selling your home. On the other hand, when you have control over your timeline, you can plan ahead. You can book movers at better rates, avoid unnecessary storage, and move directly into your next home without needing a temporary stop. That flexibility isn't just convenient, it has real financial value. The bigger picture. Most homeowners don't move often. In fact, many people stay in their homes for years before selling. That means when it's time to move, the process is usually more complex than expected. Packing up years of belongings, coordinating logistics, and transitioning into a new space takes time. Having flexibility in your moving schedule isn't just helpful, it's often necessary. That's why understanding your options is so important. The terms of your sale, including your closing date and move-out timeline, can have a major impact on your experience. Final thoughts. Selling your home doesn't have to mean rushing out on someone else's schedule. With the right buyer, you can create a timeline that actually works for you. Cash buyers offer a level of flexibility that traditional sales often can't match. Whether you need to move quickly, take your time, or stay in your home a little longer, you have options. The key is to communicate your needs clearly, plan ahead, and make sure everything is agreed upon in writing. When you do that, you can turn what is usually a stressful process into a much smoother transition. If you're thinking about selling your home and want more control over your moving timeline, working with a cash buyer could be the right choice. Reach out today to discuss your situation, your timeline, and what works best for you. We're here to help you move on your terms without the pressure.